Hi, my name is Maribel. I am a counselor here at Immerse Adult School, and this week I got a good video for you. This video is going to be tips on how to learn a new language. Self-disclosure here, I was an ESL student growing up. English was not my primary language. I speak Spanish. My household, my parents my dad only spoke Spanish. My mom knew some English, but so I entered the ESL world, I believe, in second grade. It's good in math, but I was not the best in English. It was a really weakness of mine. So I want to give you guys some tips because I know that it can be intimidating to either learn a new language or if you are in like someone from another country coming here and trying to learn English, get acquainted with the primary language here, which is English. So I want to help you and give you some tips that help me, and then other people will say that will make it easier for you to learn a language. I do want to give you a heads up that learning a new language takes time. So you got to be patient with yourself because it took me, I feel like 20 years to finally get comfortable with the English language. The language itself is always in progress. I know people that still are learning English and they're really good at it. But I definitely think that it's always a learning process to learn a new language. It will take time. It will continue evolving. We get new words all the time, so be patient with yourself. So I think having the opportunity to learn a new language is eye-opening for all of us. Imagine being able to communicate with other people from around the world. I want to travel, and one thing is knowing different languages. So we can learn so much from each other with each other's food and learning about their culture. And there's nothing better, in my opinion, than eating all types of food from around the world. I'm a foodie. I love food. Ask anyone. And I would love to try different foods, just get familiar with different foods, try different things, touch different taste buds. You just never know what you like until you try things. So why I think this is important is because I know it can be frustrating and seem hard to learn a new language, which it's not easy. It's definitely not easy. It does require a lot of practice. It does require a commitment, but it does not have to be difficult. So this is why I wanted to give you these tips. So let's start. I have about 12 tips and maybe more that come up as I go. But okay, so one thing, the first step is decide why you want to learn a new language. I know a lot of people want to learn because when they come to this country, their kids, all they speak is English, and they want to be able to communicate and connect with their kids. There's people out there who want to just be able to connect with other people that they're around, their neighbors, and maybe they want to be able to communicate to their doctor and ask, I feel that if you find a reason, it'll help you stay motivated to always remember why you decided to learn a new language. Is very important. I know that I wanted to learn a new language because that's what's prevalent here in this country. So I needed to really get the hang of it. And plus, as I continue my education and higher education, well, my English had to get better. So I did practice a lot. I did lots of reading, lots of writing, lots of talking, and look at me now. I can't stop talking. I have a YouTube video, YouTube channel. So yeah, so decide why you're learning, so that'll keep you motivated. Number 2, make sure you gather your resources. And I always tell this to everyone: get yourself a notebook where you're going to be able to journal things, have a dictionary, and if your phones are handy, use your phone where you have a dictionary. You have maybe apps that are free, by the way, like Duolingo. iPhone just got a new Translate app, which is actually very accurate, better than Google Translate. It gives you accurate translation, at least in Spanish. Not saying that the other languages. I don't think it has a lot, but the most common ones. And Spanish, I looked at it and it was pretty accurate. So if you have your iPhone, there is when you updated your phone, it should have Translate. It says Translate. The app is called Translate on the Translate app on iPhones. So get your resources, make sure you're using them, make sure it could be even a person. Have someone that you're going to be going to talk. So gather your resources, make sure you have them. And I'll talk about more later because you want to rely more than one. And that's one of our tips too. Decide how much time you want to commit to learning. Okay, you can't just say you're going to learn, go to class. Like, we do work with ESL students here. You can't just assume that you're going to learn a language just by going to class. Nope, you're going to have to practice on your own. So this will be definitely a resource, but we do want to make sure that you're actually practicing at home too. So if you're going to be committing to at least learning a language, focusing on it it looks like 3 hours a day if you're coming to school here, yeah, that's great. But how are you practicing it at home? So make sure you commit to at least those 3 hours. That will get you somewhere, but you want to commit to at least 30 minutes on your own. And I'll explain how you could do that. So make sure you have time you want to commit in your learning. Okay, so going with that, number 4, establish a schedule or routine and make sure you stick to it. Whenever I commit to anything, I give you my 100. If I say I'm going to go learn English and I'm going to go to class, I will be going to class unless I'm sick or dying or something happens like that will prevent me from going to class. But when I commit, and you need to do the same thing. Make it a priority and establish a schedule. You're going to be going to class Monday through Friday from 9 to 12. Before going to bed, I'm going to spend 30 minutes every night going over what I learned in class, my notebook. Maybe it involves you saying, I'm going to learn one new word every day. Or you can say, learn 5 words every week. You review them all the time, right? That can be your commitment. So how many times a week, how long, a day, whatever it is that you're going to be. You have to set a schedule and a routine. Make sure it's part of your routine. Because then when you have a commitment, there's no way you will not learn. You will learn. That's number 4. Establish a schedule. Number 5, set specific goals. How does that look like? If it's an everyday, learn vocabulary, like I said, learn a word a day, learn 5 words a week, because maybe you want to take the weekend off, or opposite, maybe the weekend is when you want to spend more time, on it. Whatever works for you, whatever you want to do. How many words a day, how many words a week, month. Set specific goals. Maybe you want to learn a song a week, but how does that look like, and make sure it's realistic. They usually say use the SMART goals, where it's specific, it's definitely measurable, because you're learning a new song. Yeah, you are learning a new song. It's definitely attainable. I can't remember what that stands for, but I should have reviewed that. But yeah, just make sure it's specific, and you can see at the end, okay, yeah, I learned 5 words this week, So, sorry about that. So be specific with your goals. And even if you decide, like, once a week, I'm going to be chatting with someone that speaks the language. I was helping someone out 1 hour a week as my drive to home, and I said, you know what, I have time every Friday. I can meet with you and we can practice the Spanish. That could be it, right? So set specific goals. Okay, one thing that my sister does that I know has helped her, she sets her phone on Spanish because she wants to remember her Spanish. She's definitely better at it than me. I can probably write it and read it better, or maybe not, maybe we're the same, but she is really good. But set your phone in the target language if you want to learn, because you know your phone already. You're familiar with your phone. You know where things are, and you will start learning because you have to learn, right? And now with advanced technology, why not do it? And she also said Netflix in Spanish, which sometimes frustrates me, but I'm thinking, challenge yourself. Spanish is what you used to. Don't forget it. So, like, it frustrates me, but at the same time, I understand why she's doing it. Set your phone and the target language. Set your Netflix as you're looking for things. Make sure you watch shows in that language where it's translated, and also you get the subtitles. Why not, right? And I think I go more into that. So set your phone or your TV, whatever it is, if it's Netflix, Hulu, in the target language. That's number 6. Number 7, listen to music in the language, or maybe a podcast. And I think this is great because you can pick up words and you can read lyrics and then translate it. I think when we can connect with people, music is a universal language, and it's a way to connect with people. And I think if you can go into a store and recognize a song, and you feel kind of somewhat connected with people, even though maybe that's not your primary language. So it's nice to like, oh, I recognize that song. And you can look at someone, you're like, oh, you know that song. Then you have built a connection. So I don't know. I really think that learning a new song in that language, or listening to a podcast that might be a little advanced, because it is going to be all the same language. But when you learn a song, there's only certain words, and they're not a lot of words, and sometimes they repeat itself. Like, you start feeling like you're part of the culture. And music, like I said, is a universal language. Number 8, read children's books and read them to others. Okay. That's why I have this as my thumbnail, because don't try to jump or like run before you can crawl. And I think it's basic vocabulary here. Maybe read books that you've read before, that you already recognize, whether like Harry Potter books because you already know them, 50 Shades of Grey, whatever, Twilight, read them in the language that you already read them in like your primary language. Then read it now in the other language. I'm sure they have them. But children's books, like I was saying, it's the basic vocabulary, and you can practice saying it to your kids, and you can spend time with your kid, and then you can have the kid read it back to you, and like, oh, okay, and you guys can talk about the vocabulary. It can be family time. You can hit 2 birds with 1 stone if you have kids, or if you have grandkids, or if you have, cousins or someone. Read it to them. It feels good to read to others. I know I enjoy reading out loud. So get simple, and then get more familiar with books. Maybe the Bible. Like, if you're familiar with the Bible and you speak Spanish and you want to learn English, well, get the Bible and just get certain phrases, or certain, what do you call them? I forget what they're called. Psalms. Yeah, like there's always messages there, so you can translate. Like, if you know them in Spanish, look at it in English so you can learn it. I don't know, whatever works for you. And you can start little, you don't have to be big, okay? Watch movies or shows, or maybe YouTube videos who speak the language that you want, okay? So make sure you have your subtitles, and maybe you follow YouTubers and learn from them. I think it's good to know, because remember, body language is like 80%, right? And so I think we take that for granted, but you can still follow and catch on real quick. And I think that's how I learned myself, watching shows. I did not get jokes, but as I got older, I just repetitively just start watching. I learned with TV a lot. I learned with songs by reading them and listening to them and repeating them over and over, and understanding what they said, and then trying to understand the message, like my critical thinking skills. That's how I learned. I feel like I learned with watching shows, TVs, like the movies, and listening to songs, especially music. Music was big for me. Okay, maybe join a Facebook group. where you are able to exchange ideas, give tips, maybe get support from other people, and hold yourself accountable. We're like, what did you learn this week? Hey, how did that go? What new things have you learned? Tell me more. Like, you joining a group, a support group where people are trying to learn the same language like you, that's really good. It's good to have support. And I've mentioned this before, having a support group is great. And you want to have them in different areas that you want to grow in life. One big thing, have a positive mindset. Make sure you celebrate success and remind yourself how much you know every day, every week, and every month, like how much you've learned, because it takes commitment, it takes dedication, it takes patience. And I think we forget that. We only focus on what we haven't learned, but we don't look back of how much time we've spent and what we've learned so far. I know I've done that. Like, I felt like my English skills were really bad. And then I realized I have come a long way. And be proud and celebrate that. Okay. Last but not least, we have put yourself out there. So how do you do that? Practice the language and immerse yourself in the culture. If you are able to, go and travel another country where they speak the language, whether it's Mexico, whether it's Spain, because it's more proper. But if you can't do that, speak with a friend. But let me tell you this, be open to criticism. You're a student and you're learning. So be okay with someone correcting you. Don't feel that you're offended, because the best way to learn is to make mistakes. You're only going to learn when you make mistakes. If you're making mistakes, that means you're doing something right, because you're going for it. A lot of people are afraid to make mistakes, so they don't learn because they don't want to be wrong. But guess what? You're going to be wrong, and it's going to be okay, and people are going to correct you, and you're going to learn, and you're going to get better. So if you get a chance, speak with someone at least once a week, check in with them, have coffee, invite them for like food, dinner, and practice your English, your Spanish, or whatever language you're trying to learn. Okay, so there you go. Those are some tips. I know for me, like I said, is the songs, learning a song a week could be work. I know reading, I should have gone with reading little textbooks, like kids books to start out, and then work my way up to adult books. Maybe like reading a book that you were interested or you've already read before, and then reading in the language. Definitely, I have not followed people of different language, but I did watch a lot of shows. So there you go. Make sure you get yourself. Let me go over these tips real quick. Decide why you're learning. Make sure you gather your resources. Know how much time you're going to commit in your learning. Establish a routine, a schedule, and make sure you stick to it. Set specific goals. Set your phone or your Netflix or your Hulu in the target language. Listen to music in that language or a podcast if you're that advanced. Read children's books and read them to others. Watch movies or shows or YouTube videos who speak the language, and make sure you have the subtitles on. Join a Facebook group, or maybe Instagram has one too. Like, follow people on Instagram. Have a positive mindset and make sure you put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to practice, because practice will make you better. Okay, that's all I have for you guys today. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this, please give it a thumbs up or like this video, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. If you have any suggestions for any future videos regarding maybe how to better in academics or life or relationships, let me know. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.